Welcome everyone to the 2025 Tim Selinske U.S. Masters Championships presented by Innova. We are back at Moon Mountain Disc Golf Course in beautiful Ruidoso, New Mexico. Myself, Jennifer Allen, Sandra Richardson flexing for us there, Sammy Guerrero, and Jenny Umstead jumping back up to lead card today. This is round 3. We're going to give you the full 18 all at once. Joining me for this PDGA Major coverage in the booth again, Sandi, Hendel.
Hello, everybody. We are on hole 1. This is a 325-foot hole, par 3.
Straight up, pretty massive incline to start on hole 1. There is an OB line off to the left side. Just trying to get as far up that hill as you can and then approach the basket. Pretty simple. There's not a lot of OB on this course. This is one of like 2 holes. Most of us have lightened up our bag a little bit. That is a lightweight katana, which is something I never throw sea level.
I will be taking that off your hands after this tournament.
And Sandra told me that's her Roadrunner that she throws on probably 80% of the course. If you have not ever tried mountain golf, you should give it a try. This is about anywhere from 7,000 to 7,500 feet elevation up here. Beautiful. One of the prettiest courses I've ever played. Jenny getting up there. Probably over halfway. Nice little hyzer line to the basket. Just like that. Sammie's a super fast player, so you got to be ready. And you could see how hard Sandra had to throw that. And she's, I don't know, maybe 120 feet away, and it's a full throw. I think I ranged myself about 85, so I was really trying to get up there. Usually I jump head easily from 100 feet or more. Not here. Solid starting putting from Sammy Jo. She's a great putter. We've seen some huge putts all week from her. There is a cut today, so everything counts.
Oh,
I like that one.
I cannot rush that, Jen.
Might have rushed it a little bit, but also it felt really solid. It just bounced left off the pole, so I was really shocked on that one. You just think you're stepping up for a little tap in, but not a super big fan of the veterans. I'll go ahead and put that out there. Sorry, Dee Dee. I was so proud of the drive. I had a horrible drive or back kick, I should say, round 1. So I was really excited just to tap in par.
It was like the angle of your disc.
And there was no birdies in the FP40 division on that hole.
Yeah, very tough hole. I don't think too many of the MP40 birdied that one.
Okay, we are on hole 2. This is 433 feet, par 3.
So steep downhill to start off the tee, and then you're sharply going back up once you cross that little road. Like I said, no OB till the end of this course. So you just really want to try to go across the valley if you have that much distance to bite off that huge chunk down below you. If you can shoot across, keep it a little bit higher with an understable disc that won't hyzer off to the left, you can get up on that incline. This has been playing, I think, as one of the hardest holes because it's a par 3. And it's really long hole.
Yeah, we had 0 birdie rates.
Yeah. So this is a very tough course. It kind of feels a little old school to me, which is maybe why the Masters are here. Very difficult pars. You know, they've softened the pars for the FPO division on tour. This is one course that the pars are, you know, a par is great. Like you're shooting for par. Birdie's really not an option on some of these.
I would have liked to see a par 4 on this one for the women.
It's a very difficult hole to get for sure, but maybe too soft for the 4.
Elevate the basket.
Ooh. So full throw to try to get up there, get a little skip, and she does, which you never know when you're going to get that, but that skipped a little too far. She's going to be pushing circle's edge behind the basket with a deep hill in front of it. That one's stable, goes outside or near circle's edge there to the left of the basket for Jenny. And you could just see that just shows how much these discs pull off to the left with that right hand backhand throws. I made that mistake of trying to jump putt round one, so I told myself, nope, not again. Gonna go with the little forehand where I could have a little more snap.
Great little approach.
And that's our other difficulty I think that most of us have struggled with this week. The putting, just the putters drop. And trying to get a putter to stay up in the air for that long has been most of our problems. Even when they feel good like that, they just drop right at the basket. So maybe adjusting and aiming more towards the band on those longer putts, but you sure don't want to fly over. So that's scary to do out here. I'll take my time a little bit more on this one. I think it's longer than hole one. I don't know about you, but I struggled with energy today, and I had felt great all week. I hike a lot, and I play in Flagstaff quite a bit, so elevation I didn't think was a problem, but man, it hit me today.
Okay, we are here on hole 3, 306 feet, par 3.
This is a great little, I think, backhand throw for the righties. Nice straight line. You want to hold it straight as long as possible and just let the disc and gravity pull it off there. Basket sitting nicely to the left on a sloped green. Want something to try to hold that line, and I let it go just a little early, so I know it's not a bad shot, but I knew that was going to skip down the hill, so way too far to the left. You got to maybe hit that line 40 feet more to the right. Thanks, Jen. I don't know if that was Jen or Jenny. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Wow, Sammy is a quick player.
She is extremely fast. I did ask her to kind of slow down. I think Terry misses a lot of her shots because she goes so fast. And Terry doesn't want to miss anybody.
I know.
All shots seen, so. But she was definitely on a mission today. Like I said,
noticing that.
Cut day, very important, a lot of pressure. And she's been playing great all week. This is a great line. And I think expected a little more of a skip, but hit that rock, and that just kind of stopped it. It's pretty blind where she was. She probably had no clue where the basket was, so it was right aiming, just you don't know the depth. And you can see with the downhill, trying to fluff those up shots a little bit so it doesn't go down the hill.
What in the dude?
Jenny was ready to fight the tree for Sammy on that one. So I got a pretty big incline back up at it. Probably about 45 feet out. Gave it a little run. Easier to run those uphill putts than the top.
Absolutely.
There's a good save.
Stop
for the bogey. Yep.
Good putt, lady.
And that's back to back. And Sandra's such a great putter. We haven't really been seeing those misses from her this week. So like I said,
Really?
I really feel like I know personally I had zero energy today. But I think overall you could just see that little bit more struggle than we've been having out there.
I know, which is why mine, I put nose down. Oh, I put my nose That was up. Me, day one. Oh, I'll do nose down. That didn't work. I had my hand, I was like, cool.
Maybe a few more majors will figure out the putting on the mountains.
Okay, we are on hole 4. This is a 262-foot par 3.
I think this is one of the trickiest holes on the course. There's a very small straight gap there on the left. I found out personally, if you take that and you get a kick, you're going to hole 17's fairway. So I think everyone on the card today is decided to try this hyzer line. First time I threw it, definitely misjudged where to go. But the kick seems to be a little more favorable to not go as far, but just a really small gap because the slope of this fairway, where you release it and it should stay, it's going to move a foot or two from where it would on flat land. So everything's pulling drastically down to the left. So you think you release it at the right point, and then by the time it gets to that tree,
that tree.
Oh. At least I'm not on a different hole to play this hole this time. So I had about 200 feet left, I believe, maybe 180. Tossing the Yeti up there. Most of the holes out here have a nice defined fairway. I think this is the smallest gap lines. It's kind of like the same on hole 17 over at Oso. There's just tighter choices to not as defined. So it makes it for a tricky hole. And it's so hard to keep that disc up to give it a bid from that far out when you're downhill, but that was a good approach by Sammie. It's great. Making sure, taking that extra time, getting the disc high enough, aiming a little higher than I usually do since I'm so tired.
See that deep breath.
This is probably the quietest round I've ever been. I hardly said anything. And you can see Sammie looks a little quieter too. So one more round, hopefully for all of us. And then we'll get to rest.
That's correct.
Good pars there. And we're going to head on over to hole number 5.
This was also another hole with no birdies. Okay, we are on hole 5. This hole is 269 feet, par 3.
Straight up the hill. I would say this probably plays 320, maybe. I like the Spike Heiser. Had a good ace run at it, and I was shocked that I made it that far up because it is a full throw. I couldn't remember which line I took. I went one tree wider than I did on day 1. So I landed about pin high, but just way too far off to the right. I think the hard thing off the tee for this is making sure when you're going uphill that you do get the disc high enough. Shooting straight across, trying to throw a straight, like you're really focusing on throwing the disc straight to try to hit this fairway. I think tends to make people throw it a little lower. You can see how Jenny really got the disc up. And fortunately, needing something a little more understable to hold the straight line to make it up, all the way up to the top. Sammie Jo's got a lot of power. That one really turned on her. She's getting over 2/3 of the way up there. She hit a huge putt day 1 on this, so we'll see if she can get the birdie like she did previously. Just amazes me that it's full throw up shots from 100
to those up shots.
Yeah, 150 feet, maybe. Good little soft approach from Jenny. And footing is not as bad as you would think, but there's definitely a lot of times where it's like, okay, take a few extra seconds to make sure my feet are flat or settled, or so sometimes it's a little more difficult than others with the rocks, but usually you can move them around a little bit and make it work. I'm focusing on every one of those little suckers today.
Don't blame you.
They all feel the same. That was just dumbfounded on that first.
One misjudgment and you're rolling down the hill.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We should have done like a weigh-in on Monday to see if anyone lost weight hiking.
Or gaining muscle.
Or gaining muscle, that's correct. So we definitely put in some miles.
Hi, my name is Galkin, and I use LG backpack cart. I use LG back cart because I can put my grip bag in and out so easily. From like so heavy in your bag, and then you use a cart, and you not feel any pressure on your back. Hallelujah, you know. The more option is better. Everything in your life, right? Like you eat burger to the steak. That's how I feel. Backpack, no backpack, boom. This is the answer right here.
We are on hole 6. This hole is 364 feet, par 3.
I really loved this hole once I figured it out. With that pulling down to the left, hitting the straight line is very difficult. Must be a very unstable disc. The hyzer line, playing the course, letting gravity do the work, sure did allow me this week to hit this line, I think, like you're supposed to. Pretty sure there were some changes in the card once they saw me throw this because
they want that line too.
They want to try it.
Yeah.
And they all looked great. This is another one. I thought Sandra's went as far as mine did. Ended up just a little short. Jenny had not tried this, so this is first attempt. But you can just see it's just a natural line for the hole because gravity's going to let the disc hyzer. So you just got to hit the gap that you need to up high on the right. Nose angle, very important. You can see that nose angle on Sammie's was nice and flat. That's what you want.
I would do the same line if I was a righty.
Yeah, she unfortunately just caught one of the trees. Beautiful shot back.
Very nice.
That was a really nice approach. Nice little turnover approach from Jenny, sliding up there. Oh.
Nice. Believe you birdied this both rounds?
I did. That's maybe one of the reasons I think it's one of my favorite holes. There's a few out here. This is probably my favorite mountain course I've ever played, and I've played quite a few.
We'll second that. I like Moon Mountain.
Little left side soft. We've decided you cannot touch on these baskets. And then I did notice that the chains were all twisted after after Jenny putted that. So I'm not sure if that's what caused that to spit, but we've definitely seen quite a few spits. So this is our favorite mountain course. Why don't you guys leave a comment below of what is your most favorite mountain course that you have ever played? I'm going to say it has to qualify. Let's say above 5,000 feet.
Okay, I like that.
So let us know.
Okay.
Here we are on hole 7. This hole is 494 feet. This is a par 4.
Super fun hole to throw. Right there where you kind of see that piece of wood in the middle is probably a very good landing zone. Just pretty hard to hit it, actually. Like we talked about on the previous holes, if you have the power to just try to go straight across, you can bite off a lot of distance. So I'm going high with a stable disc so I can turn it over and I know that it's going to come back.
Say that tree is so hard to get around.
And so then you just have to wait and see if it rolls down the hill or if it stays.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is Sandra's Roadrunner again. Get some good turn. Typically you're going to see that. I bet that hyzered back even though you really can't see it just because of how much it's going to pull everything to the left. Like that. So anytime you're starting where that disc wants to land, you can go ahead and add like at least 75 feet to the left, maybe more sometimes depending on how steep the angle of the hill is. So it's a nice straight shot. So that's a really lightweight, understable disc as well. But that's that landing zone I was talking about. It's just really difficult to hit. Left side does open up that hyzer that you just saw Sammie throw, but you get to see how far down she went over there on the left. A beautiful turnover through the tree for Sandra. Getting her up there on the green. This is a blind shot for us down here. We have no clue. There's a pole, but there's no flag, so it's very difficult to see. And when you're down there at the bottom, it's just, you see nothing but sky. Unfortunate to catch just a little bit of that last dead branch. She's going to be probably about 25 feet. So I tried to jump putt this day one, so I'm changing it up, going with a little hyzer pitch.
Good choice.
Again, no clue if that was close or not, but it worked out. I know it was easier on my body to throw that instead of the jump putt, that's for sure.
I believe there was 3 birdies from the FP40 division. Oh,
I was right behind her. I'm like, you're in.
Oh my God. How did that even go in?
It's just, when you've played for so long, when it comes out of the hand correctly, you can just feel it. And she knew that did not come out clean, but the basket was nice.
Really?
That's a feat.
Oh my God, this is so nice having a day.
I honestly, in her defense, we've had so many drop low that we start to change your putt. So she's aiming higher than previously. And so sometimes they drop and sometimes they don't. It's just so hard to judge.
I think after a couple days, you get a feel of this. It took me a good 2-3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Okay, we are on hole 8. This hole is 291 feet, par 3.
I'm going to say this probably plays like 230. So straight downhill, no OB, just getting it right across. You want something that flies very straight. Most of us going with a putter or a mid. Came really close, went right on top of the basket with this Yeti. Knew it was a little low, so I know it was going to be a good shot, but
That's great.
it's a fun. You want an ace before you go home. This is just such a fun.
You have one more day
run.
left.
You've got that incline hill behind the basket, so it's like it's fun to run it. It's not
Nice little
too far.
backstop.
Sandra down kind of the walkway to hole number 9. Ginny said hers hyzered out big time on day 1, so she adjusted, changed disc, I believe. Beautiful dive. And Sammy Joe chained out day 1 on the left side. And just like me, we're just a little lower. So maybe we had that storm rolling in day 1. Maybe there was a little bit more of a headwind that lifted it. But all of us dropping a little lower than we did previously. Sneaking it in left side chain. Great birdie. Really want to get these little short ones.
Oh my.
And unfortunately,
I tried the new putt. It didn't work.
see, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you try to change stuff, and it's really frustrating.
Well, it's hard to change anything during a tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and most of us, a couple of us, playing in California at sea level, the day before this basically started. And then a lot of us going on to Vegas, going straight back to sea level. So
That would be fun.
hard to make those changes on the fly.
The PDGA rating system is a valuable part of having an active membership. When you play in sanctioned leagues and tournaments, you get a rating that compares your performance to the rest of the field. This helps you understand your skill level and helps you see your improvement in the game. You also get a PDGA number when you first sign up. Your PDGA number timestamps when you sign up, locking in your place in disc golf history. So sign up today, and we'll see you out on the course.
Okay, we are on hole 9. This hole is 320 feet, and it's a par 3.
A little bit of a headwind is what we've had on this hole both times we've thrown it. You can see the green, very difficult to maintain position up there because that is I would say at least 5 feet drop off behind, built up on railroad ties. Till they did a lot of work out here. You know, the grass is mowed on the fairways. There's no lawnmower. Oh, did you get excited there?
I did.
Sorry, Sandi.
Oh, it looked
a little
good.
short, but it did stay. So going with a putter to try to get it to stay on top. Sammy Joe's just turning a little too much, started to hyzer back. She gets a good roll back. But I just want to give a huge shout out to all the volunteers and everyone who had a part in putting on this event, because your hard work is definitely seen. You had to weed eat it, this entire mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, and thank you to everyone in the town. This has been such a fun week. It's so beautiful here. Yeah, I think she said that was a mamba. And like I said, there's a little bit of a headwind. So downhill, flippy disc, hitting some headwind, you're going to tend to see it go off to the right side. My putter's a max weight, so it's fought the wind a little bit more. Ooh, the most unfortunate place to hit. If she would have hit just an inch lower, she's sticking in that railroad tie. And then boom, she hits the other side. So, like I said, really hard to get these putters to stick up here on the green. And I think even when you do, it's still a very scary putt.
It is.
I mean, but I do love the natural elevated basket, right? Like,
I agree.
it's on the ground, but we're still putting drastically uphill, like if it's a raised target, which is what Sandra did there. Beautiful par save. You can hear the wind starting to pick up a little bit. It was off and on, I think, most of the day, but no lightning and thunder. Beautiful skies, warming up nicely.
I'm gonna cross down and go pee. If there's water, does anyone need water?
Get it.
The water's up at the
There's only one bathroom on this course. Have to use it right. Oh.
Okay, we are on hole 10. This hole is 442 feet, and it is playing as a par 5.
442 probably plays 550, especially because if you can get your first drive to land around here, that's a standstill drive that feels probably like another 330 if you can get to the middle. So a couple of huge throws, definitely going with some lightweight disc. That's a lightweight turn, which I never throw. It blows my mind how stable that is. I don't even throw a max weight turn when we're down low. Sammy getting some good pop finding middle of the fairway, but you can see like the footing is just, it's not there for another huge throw. And that's why the par is a 5. And that might be a little soft, but honestly for the women, I think it's pretty good.
I agree.
This is a course that men and women all play the same tees, same layout, same course. So
I haven't thrown that star
I'd like to actually look and see how many of the men birdied this. Or eagled.
Ooh,
More eagle. I have to research that later.
with you.
Wow, that thing's so light. It's so light. Oh, I should have done something a little heavy.
I think 90% of the approaches are standstills.
They are.
Yep.
Yeah. That's definitely the difficulty. And you could like hear Sandra having to grunt.
It's at least 5 feet.
Yeah. It's just to get you still out there.
That grunt gets you an extra 25 feet.
Yeah. And they're landing, I would guess, maybe 70 feet still away from the basket or more. I didn't arrange it today, but now I'm switching because I had a little turnover line back to that katana that I threw day one and get up there maybe 25 feet.
Well, I aimed that way.
So unfortunately, Jenny is making this hole quite a bit longer than it actually is. So she's going right to left.
Some army golf.
A little bit of army golf there.
There you go. That was terrible. Not really. Come back. Hey.
So I did just research. So probably should have been played as a par 4 for the men.
Yes.
But I think a par 5 is good for us on this one. There was quite a few eagles in the MP40 division. Good little bid. Good to stick. It's always scary hitting the pole.
Nice.
Such a great par save after going left and right and all over the place. So good save by Jenny. I have to tell her, make sure to use those legs a little more. She's getting tired. I think I was focusing on legs as well as really trying to little extra spin today with the fatigue I could feel.
Great eagle.
Yeah, so I got this eagle both rounds.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, Jenny gave me, that one felt good. Jenny played with a couple of our top MP50 players and said they couldn't eagle it.
Okay, we are on hole 11. This hole is 270 feet, par 3.
Yeah, we're heading our way back up to the top of this mountain. Again, playing probably more like 330. This green has been pretty difficult for us to get up to on inside circle. Was this birdied at all?
It was not.
Yeah, I was going to say, I haven't seen anyone really get close. I have the distance for it, but unfortunately, kick a tree there and drops me pretty far back. Trying to get off the green, or actually for the tee before Sammie throws and dodge Terry. It was very difficult. Sammie was on the run today, so nothing like standing on the tee and someone's teeing off behind you and dodging a camera. But that did actually happen a few times today, so I got to be more agile. Just moving slow, I guess.
You're not spry enough.
Not that quick. There's Jenny with a great drive. Goes a little high, so she's going to lose some distance. But that puts, just anywhere. I think we're all getting several shoes edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I was kind of at that range where I didn't want to jump putt it. I thought I couldn't get around that tree with extra distance. So I went with a forehand and a little long. Not too bad. Sammie getting up there. That was the line I wanted to go. I was just 20 feet back. I just didn't know if I had the power to get there.
I would have had to throw it around that tree. I was like, I don't know if I can jump at
Yeah, sorry, Jen.
I know. I was like, wow, that one felt so good. So very frustrated that both of my bogeys so far, I'm going to blame on the basket.
Okay.
Definitely that one. The first one, maybe a little left. That one was dead.
I thought that was in.
It
This
was
is the first time I seen this video.
Yeah, it was. It was whatever.
I can make those all day. I think I can make those all day.
So good. Couple of par saves.
Hi, Jen.
We're still smiling. Look at us. We're still happy.
Okay, we are on hole 12. This hole is 243 feet, par 3, double mando.
Yeah, double mando plays about 200 feet. Drop zone right there to the right side. I think this is a really fun hole. It is tricky. Like I said, when you have that slope, your disc are going to pull a little differently. You can see Sammie hit a good line out of her hand, but it just pulls to the left so quick. I believe she said that's a bullet she throws as a putter. Sandra made that adjustment, went a little bit closer to the mando tree on the right, and by the time it gets there, it's dead center. So great drive by Sandra. Jenny playing with a bee. Was eating an apple. Oh, I think I attracted all the bees.
Yeah, I didn't miss the mando. That bug was killing me.
So I like my Yeti, which is my throwing, or I mean, is my actual putter. But I really love, it's a great straight 200-foot shot, but maybe 260, 200, 260, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really misfortunate there. Unfortunate, I should say. And afterwards, she's like, man, I guess you just need to, be aggressive on the first one. So now she's added an extra stroke. The answer is yes. And I will clarify.
That's a good one.
You can do that. I will also clarify right now, because last couple of tournaments I've been in, you hear people discussing the old rule of lining up behind the mando tree instead of the basket. You do have to line up your foot behind your marker in line to the basket, not the mando tree. So that was a rule that was changed a couple of years ago. I did verify that with the marshal last weekend. So it's hard when they make little tweaks to the rules throughout the years when you played a long time. I think I was 65 feet down the hill. Bye.
Oh, Jen. Oh.
Yep, I'm fine. Yeah, just way to land on your elbow. That has been hurting since last October. It's no big deal. There was looked like just a bush, not even a bush, just a top of a cedar in front of me that so tiny and thin, and I didn't know there was a full stump underneath it. So I caught just the top of the dead stump, and it just took me straight down. Not too much blood. It's fine. I will say my hand was burning for probably 5 holes. Like it hit the sidewalk.
Well, I was right in front of you, so I knew.
Yeah, I was like, okay, take another extra second so your hand, you can actually feel it when you release this putter.
Deep breath.
I was very thankful. It was a very hard hit, but sure, a few bruises later.
My arm was going to straighten there for a second. Yeah. Of course it hits right where my arm is dead.
A little extra ice and stim tonight, and maybe the hot tub, and I'm sure I'll be fine tomorrow.
It's a good night.
Get them up. Get them up. Gotta get them up to get them in.
Okay, we are on hole 13. This hole is 231 feet, and it is a par 3.
Super fun hole. Nice defined fairways left and right, so you can take that nice little turnover shot. Do be careful if you take the way that the drone is flying. Big shout out actually to Ace Run Pro for all the drone footage here, but over to the right side of this fairway, complete cliffs. So if you take this way, you want to make sure you don't get any crazy kicks, or with the turnover that you get that to stop. So very touchy on these downhills. Again, probably plays about 200 feet. I corrected by going a lot lower. Still got a huge skip. Hit a rock. That helped that stop a little bit. Good pull. But just the height on it's going to take you about 70 feet past the basket. We are at the top of this mountain that we're throwing on. So now we get to start heading downhill. Such a great skip, and it stays.
That's perfect.
That's the hard part. So nice park job there by Jenny. Good uphill layup from Sandra. And this is a pretty scary green. And so kind of can give it a bid when you're down there, but again, so hard to putt that high up there. So I think most everyone, there's a good shot Terry gave you of this incredible view. Pan out to me making a putt and groaning still. But that's the first time I really seen someone run a putt. Like both times we played it, we all kind of laid it up. I was a little too close to lay that one up. And then Jenny doesn't have to lay anything up. That's a tap in, great birdie.
5 minutes before that flag, like the wind was ripping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just checking them off one at a time.
Yeah. Okay, we are on hole 14. This is a 386-foot par 3.
super fun hole. There's not a lot of them that we play alongside the hill. So very drastic slope to the right. So where most of our shots kind of been hyzering off, this is one of those holes that if you're not careful, you're going to end up down the hill here. Going with my max weight rate.
Stay up.
Get a good little skip right up.
Look at
there.
that.
I went with the hyzer on day one, got a kick down the hill. So I just decided to heck with it. I'm going to go straight at it.
This is one hole as a lefty. I fear.
Bet. Yeah, because you're hyzer straight down the hill like we do on the...
That's correct. Yeah.
Welcome to our world on the rest of the course, by the way. Oh, you can see that wind, like Sandy said, start to pick up a little bit again. Looks like it's blowing right to left. So it would help push that down the hill if you get too much turn. And that's a great drive, just right there where you can approach. This is like a pretty long par 3. This one I think could be played as a softer par 4 maybe for the women. But again, this is kind of old school golf. Yeah. It's close to it feels like a par 54 course. Besides those couple of really long holes. But this is kind of how we used to play it. Like your goal was to get a 3.
Yeah.
And that's how traditional golf is pretty much played. You know, these guys are out there going for 3s, for par, whatever, shooting par. Birdies are just where you do something amazing. That's, I think, the common mistake for a lot of us when we're up above the basket like that. We were trying to focus on getting the nose down on the putter, and you end up hitting just a hair low.
I know the struggle.
Yeah. Same. We're not even gonna, I don't even know. There was a lot of weird, like if you just walked up on our group occasionally today, it was like, whoa, what are we talking about here? Another little high putt there from Sandra that likes to stick.
I like some high. I don't know, I can't find the sweet spot on these things. Did I cover that?
All right. It's your turn, Jen.
Yeah, I know. We're all trying to get out of Terry's way so we can catch Sammy putt.
Yeah, Jen.
Yeah. The only birdie on this hole.
Probably for 2 rounds, I would have to guess.
Yeah. Well, you played it well in practice too.
Putter Pouch Sling, one of my favorite new products.
Holds all my putters, my cell phone.
Pencils, mini, anything you need.
You can detach it, put a sling on it, use it as a little hit pack when you hit the pitch and putt. 3 discs, throw it over your shoulder, off you go.
Inside or outside the court, let's go.
Putter Pouch Sling. Keep your favorite discs on a quick draw.
That's one of my favorite products that they've come out with the last few years. If you need a putter pouch, go get that one for sure.
Okay, we are on hole 15. This hole is 247 feet, playing as a par 3.
All of these that are going downhill, like I said before, playing, maybe this one's even shorter than 200. This one may play like 180. I'm doing the standstill putter.
So high.
It worked the first time hitting a tree and dropping, so why not try it again? Otherwise, if I didn't hit a tree, I'm going down in that valley. So worked accidentally on round 1.
I agree with
Tried to do it. Yeah, tried to do it again and it worked out. Jenny just that's what happened.
They sail.
Barely through that, and she is all the way across that big canyon. Not as big as the Grand Canyon, but it's pretty close. Early release by Sandra is going to put her halfway down on the left side. Maybe overcorrection off of Sandra's late release for Sammy. So, and maybe that's like trying to change the touch, right? Like, it's such a delicate shot. So you're trying to change how the disc is coming out of your hand a little softer. Getting a good little roll. She's going to get down there on the green. And approaching, I think, is just as hard as driving. It has to land because the disc has to land so perfectly flat, and it's hard to do that going downhill. By the time that putter hits the ground, it's hyzering out.
That's correct.
And so that is a very smart choice. Almost still, my mouth dropped. I was like, bless her heart, she tried to lay up and it's going to go. But very smart decision by Sandra. Left side chains. I'm just going to go ahead and put a warning out. Stay away from them on the veterans. They are not the best spot to hit. Footing wasn't the best. This is side of the hill on both sides. I kind of slid down the backside of this during practice. It's just really, really loose dirt that they probably made this road. Jenny puts her foot down in the same dirt, and one of the rocks falls and just smacks her right on the inside bone.
So we only had 2 birdies on this hole.
Who were they, Sandy? Were they 2 commentators sitting right here?
It just might be.
Fist bump. So after Jenny making these holes longer, she's going to tap out that bogey. But her approach, I thought, was going in. She was all the way across, and it came screaming by, and it was such a pretty line. Unfortunate double bogey there from Sammy.
Okay, we are on hole 16. This is a 465-foot par 4.
Straight downhill off the tee across this valley, and then it starts to incline back up as you approach the green. A few little scattered trees that can get in the way. Anywhere landing about that rock line, and that cedar in the middle is a good spot. Going with the same turn that flipped on me the other day, but I started it a lot more to the left because I know it has the stability to hyzer out. It did just unfortunately pass the basket just a little bit. If I would have missed that tree, it would have been such a great shot. It still was a great shot.
I believe this is one of the easiest holes. We had a 67% birdie rate.
Yeah. So again, this just should show, if you kind of pay attention to these 200-foot shots that feel like 300-foot shots. And here we have an over 400-foot hole that kind of almost plays like a par 3. So mountain golf is crazy. Go check it out. If you can make it to this course, I highly recommend it. I think you'd have a great time. Might just see a herd of wild horses as you play as well. Yeah, I need a little more stability on those. When Sammy gets one turned over, they really haven't been hyzering back too much, but she's an open fairway. She's going to have a long shot to get up there to the green. She's got plenty of power for that, so she's up there about circle 1's edge. Jenny kind of stuck behind the branch of that pine tree, gives it a good flick up there.
That's a great approach.
Tap in birdie awaits Jenny at the top. That was Sandra's eagle run that she just laid up for a tap in birdie. Don't blame her much. Birdies are kind of hard to come by out here, so good stick. So you definitely, on holes like this, there's, when the greens are a little scary, laying up for a birdie's great.
Who's that?
I'm in there, I promise. It was not the best footing, lie, or around my face, but I really wanted to kind of give this a run. Just not enough power. It's one of those two, you're kind of afraid of hitting the basket. Like you either want to make it or you don't want to touch anything. So I have that for my tap in birdie as well. So Sammy getting that par. No damage done, but really wanted the birdie. Those feel like par tap-ins, though.
It does.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, we are on hole 17. This is a 1,020-foot par 5.
I think this is like the iconic hole on the course to me. It's such an incredible, gorgeous, it just tunnels toward, down the hill through all these trees, basket right there in the middle. It's just such a beautiful hole. and I wanted every inch of it. I ripped that deflayer as hard as possible, knowing if I could get over the edge, it would hyzer out, and it did.
Oh, that's one of the best drives I've seen on this hole.
It's the best drive I've ever seen. That was like 100 feet longer than usual, I think, to me. We ranged it.
Oh my God.
That's why I didn't see where that went.
Keep it low.
Yeah, and it is. That was my issue at day one. I just couldn't get the nose down enough. This tee pad does slope down as well, so it really kind of pulls you down anyways. Nice long drive by Sandra. Anywhere down there near that tree line is a great place to land, as long as you try to get your footing. Sammie's going to hyzer up this hill, and it's fine. I was over there day one, but the better footing that you can get makes for a nice second shot. A little high. It's going to drop out of the sky and lose a lot of distance there. Have to keep the nose angle down as we're going down the slope. I get some great distance on the second shot from Sandra. This is what I'm talking about on this spotlight. So it's like open, but you just very difficult to run. Should have probably went with the standstill. It's the only way to stretch out and miss that cedar. She has the power for those standstills. There's a good one. Gets her back down to the middle of the fairway. And we had a little bit of wind starting to come through this, kind of tunnels it through. We're to my drive.
Oh.
Terry and I ranged it. We think that was 575 feet.
Yeah, I can see that.
Pretty good ripper.
Mm-hmm.
So I changed discs, tried to get every inch. I had my Wraith in my hand, but went for the turn, trying to get everything, and that headwind just too much for the turn.
Oh.
Unfortunately, catches a tree, so I lose probably a good 150, 200 feet on that one. So, incredible drive.
Absolutely.
Waste. But I'm still up there, kind of where I was on day one with a good drive, so. Fatigue definitely sets in. We've hiked, I can't remember. It's a good 3 miles around. And I think I saw my watch like 100 flights of stairs or something.
I had to try.
So going with my rocks. I know this is a fast green. Probably should have done a standstill because I blasted past that sucker. Was in between. I definitely didn't want to throw a putter. Needed somewhere between a putter and a mid on that one. Way too high, but puts her about 25 feet or so. Such a beautiful shot. Good camera work. Mm-hmm. Showing a little bit more of how much these fairways slope. Nice hyzer. That's the bullet again by Sammie. That's made by Mint. Wanted to try to get it after that drive, but I'll take the tap in. That one hurt. The elbow was so sore. Full extension putt, locking it out. At least I got it up that time. And Jenny did too. You can see she lifted the extra little pop up in the air thinking that it's going to drop, and as soon as you try to correct a putt hitting low, you go right over the basket. Okay, so maybe the right side's a little slick as well as
it must be.
Unfortunate double bogey there by Jenny.
We had a 0% birdie rate on this hole.
Wow.
I just wanted to say we had a 75% bogey rate on this hole.
Good stats. We're going to call her Stat Sandy over there. So Sammy with the double bogey as well. And I'm going to take the par.
Disc Golf Dyers Guild is your go-to resource for disc dying instruction, ideas, and information. A community that pools its resources for the betterment of the group. Come check out our courses, dying supplies, online community contests, raffles, and the Dying to Listen podcast where you get to put a face or sound to your favorite dyers. So, if you always wanted to try disc dying, or you've been dying for a while, there's something for you.
Okay, our last hole of the day. We are playing a 538-foot par 4.
Very difficult hole. Not as pretty as hole 17, but it is a hard one. We do have OB come into play on the left side, and that slope just drastically. We're on the side of the hill or the mountain coming down, so really have to be careful with your angles. That turn I've been flipping, so I really wanted to try the hyzer flip. Unfortunately, if you hit a tree 200 feet in the air, it's like someone will throw it 300 feet backwards. So my disc flew backwards more than it flew forward. I think I scared Sandra, so she goes up onto the right side. And personally, I feel like up there on the right is a lot harder to approach. Down below the basket is a little easier for the second shot. Beautiful line, and that was where you would typically go to a basket, but on the side of a mountain, you almost have to kind of really get something a little more understable to stay straight. It's just going to pull it down to the bottom. That's a good line. And just needed it to hyzer out. Unfortunately, the tree denied that disc opportunity at that. She's going to get it down there. And again, just another branch. Sammie's unfortunately hit so many trees. There's the basket. It likes to blend in. Hard to see. Sandra letting that one go high. Anytime it's high, you know it's going far. She's going to be about pin high, just probably 75 feet uphill putt. So Jenny down below the basket just a little bit, probably 300 feet away, maybe 280. Beautiful approach. Can't see it, but I'm going to tell you it's close. Okay. One more tree, unfortunately. So I have brought my disc to that OB line and trying to just spike it in there and still get the birdie. I wanted one more. I knew I had a good round going. I didn't know how good. I don't like to look at the scores, but I knew it was good.
We both do the paper scorecard.
Yes, we do. Paper for life. OGs here. Nice pitch up by Sandra so she can just go ahead and get that par and get out of here. About 20 feet left to save par. I believe that put me at 8 down for the round.
That is correct.
And that ended up at 1,000 rated. So was able to squeak out 1,000 rated round, which feels good always.
I personally believe that should have been maybe a 10-10 or a 10-15.
That was a rough round for Sammie. She's going to finish 10 over for the day. Fatigue hitting Sandra, but I think she can do it. Yes, she taps it in there. That's going to finish her for 2 over for round 3. Jenny had a rough day on the putting green, trying to figure out mountain golf. That's going to get a beautiful birdie to finish, but unfortunately, finishing at 6 over is going to be some shifting. And here is the leaderboard going into the finals. We have myself, Sandra, Lisa, Sandi, and Mel jumping up from chase card. Congratulations. Check it out. Finals tomorrow.
Interlights.